Hello everyone, so welcome back to my channel. So if you guys have watched my previous video, you probably know that I managed to get an A star in my A2 economics. And in this video, I'll be sharing all the steps that I took in order to get an A star in my A2 economics. I really hope that this video helps you guys a lot. And that's the main aim of this video. So one thing that I would like to mention is that these steps work for me, right? These steps work for me pretty well, but that doesn't guarantee that these steps will work for you as well, because everyone has a different style of studying. And I don't even know when you will be watching this video, because maybe by the time you're watching this video, the eco topics or the question patterns of A levels eco have changed completely. So I cannot guarantee that all of these steps will work for you. So I would highly recommend you guys to not rely 100% on this video. Instead, do your own research and gather knowledge as much as possible about A2 economics from other resources as well, from various books or question papers or the internet, of course. So we'll start with the video. So the first thing that I personally believe that if you want to do good in economics, you need to have two things in you, right? So first is that you need to be good at memorizing things or remembering things, right? So A levels economics is quite lengthy, so you need to remember a lot of concepts and a lot of definitions, right? And a lot of graphs as well. So you need to make sure that you are good at either remembering or exactly memorizing things, because eco is honestly all about remembering the concepts that you have studied. So the second thing that one needs to have is that you need to be willing to put in unlimited amounts of studies into economics, right? As you know, A levels is quite difficult. All of the subjects in your A levels is quite difficult, and eco is no different. So you need to be ready to study a lot in order to do good, right? You need to put in a lot of effort into studying economics so that you end up with a good grade. You need to be willing to put in unlimited hours to study economics. So yeah, so the book that I used for my A levels economics is like this book. It's this book by Susan Grant. It's A levels economics, written by Susan Grant. But I don't really have the book with me because I gave it away to someone as I'm done with my A levels. And I found this book extremely helpful, and I would recommend everyone to use this book as well, because this book consists of almost all the topics and all the content of your A levels. And the explanation of this book is quite simple, and you would understand you are supposed to understand almost everything, because it's written in a quite easy language, and you will most probably understand everything. So for this book, I read this book thoroughly. Initially I read this book I read everything in this book once or twice thoroughly. Then I highlighted the important parts, right? I highlighted the parts that I thought are quite important. I highlighted the parts that I thought might come up in the exam. And during my exams, I only revised those highlighted parts. I memorized those highlighted parts, and I think this book helped me a lot to do good in my A2 economics. And of course, I would suggest everyone to use this book and read it thoroughly as well. So yes, A2 economics has two papers, right? P3 and P4. So P3 is all about MCQs, right? P3 consists of around 30 MCQs, and you are provided with around 2 hours, or I think 2 or 15 minutes to complete 30 MCQs. And for MCQ, again, I used this book, right? I used the concepts written in this book to answer the MCQs, right? I think the concepts written in this book helped me a lot to answer those MCQs. The second book that I used in order to do good in my P3, it's not a book, it's basically your question paper. It's basically your red spot economics question paper. So those of you who don't know what is a red spot question paper, it's basically a topical question paper where you are provided with questions topic wise, right? So I used this red spot economics question paper to practice P3 because, and I found it extremely helpful because in this question paper, on the left side you are provided with the MCQs, and you know you need to answer those MCQs. You need to take the correct answer, and on the right side you are provided with the right answer of that MCQ, and you are provided with an explanation why that answer is right and why the other options are wrong, right? You are provided with, for example, why you are provided with the answer, for example, the answer is B, and you are provided with an explanation of why B is the correct answer and why A, C, and D are wrong answers. And this helped me a lot to, you know, polish my MCQ skills, and I would recommend everyone to use this book, Red Spot Economics A2 for P3. And yes, another thing that I did for P3 was that, you know, I used to practice random papers from Papa Cambridge. I used to practice random P3 question papers, and when I used to get stuck with any MCQs, I used to mark that MCQ and show that to my school teacher, and he would explain it to me. And I would make sure that I write down his exact explanation at that very moment, and then revise those explanations before my exams. So before all of my P3 exams, I revised all of the explanations that my school teacher gave me about the MCQs. So yeah, that's about P3. Next is P4, right? So P4 consists of two sections, section A and section B. So section A is section A is data response questions, and you are provided with an article, and you are provided with some questions related to that article. So you need to use your economics concepts and relate those concepts with the article, and use that relationship to answer the questions. Basically, you need to relate your previous economics concepts and the article and use that to answer the questions. And yeah, I practiced this a lot, section A. I practiced section A a lot, and in fact, my previous knowledge from my O levels and my AS level economics knowledge helped me a lot as well. So for P4, I would not recommend anyone to use red spot for P4 because the answers in red spot for your P4 questions are extremely lengthy. They consist of too much information which is like not needed. So I would not recommend anyone to use red spot economics for P4. So yes, another thing that I did for my section A or section B both is that I used to practice writing the answers a lot. I used to like find out a random paper and I used to just start writing their answers. I wouldn't care if I'm writing the right answer or not. Of course, I would try my best to write the correct answer, but I wouldn't put emphasis on the fact that if I am writing the wrong answer or not. So I would just practice writing those answers. I would bring out any random paper and answer the questions, and then I would take it to my school teacher and tell him that, sir, could you please check it for me? And of course, he did check it for me, and he provided me with his feedbacks, and I think those feedbacks were extremely important for me. Those feedbacks helped me increase my writing style. So the more you practice writing the answers, the better you get at writing those answers, and your writing speed will also increase, because in your eco exam, time management is extremely important, as your eco exams are quite lengthy. So you need to be very fast at writing the answers to various questions. So I would recommend everyone to practice writing answers as much as possible for section A and for section B. It's very crucial that you write at a faster pace, because that would save you a lot of time, and you wouldn't have problems with time management in your exam. So yeah, that's about section A. Next we have section B. So in section B, you need to answer around 2 questions. You are provided with around 4 to 6 questions, and as far as I remember, I think 6 questions. I forgot how many questions you are provided with, but as far as I remember, you need to answer only 2 questions. So for section B, there are of course 2 separate ways to answer to go about section B. So the first way is that you can predict uh, what type of question you will be getting in your exam, and according to that you memorize or remember a sample answer, and you go to your exam hall and write that answer. And to be honest, it's quite easy to predict the questions that might be there in your A2 exams, because I have seen that. I have practiced question papers a lot, of course. I have practiced like thousands of question papers, and I have seen that most of the times your questions are quite similar. For section B, your questions are quite similar, like the main gist of the questions are quite similar, but they are rephrased and they're put into like different words, but the main concepts are same. So like it's quite easy to predict your answer, and that's what in fact that's what I did. So I predicted around 4 type of questions might come, and I memorized around 4 sample questions, and out of those four, two of them were in my exam paper, and I answered those two. But of course you cannot copy paste those answers, your sample answers, because the questions are rephrased. So you need to modify your answer a bit as well. You need to include some new points or cut down some points which are not necessary for your answer. So I memorized around 4 answers, and around two of them were in my exam, and of course I modified those answers a bit and used those answers. The 4 answers that I used will be in the description box. If you want to check it out, if you want to use that, you are most welcome to. So I will be providing the 4 answers that I used in the description box of this video. So yeah, so another way to answer section B questions is of course to know how to answer the question, how to structure your answer, and write the answer, write that answer in that moment in your exam. Come up with the answer. You come up with the main answer, and then you structure your answer, and you write it at that very moment. You have not memorized your a sample answer. I would personally suggest everyone to do both of these things. I would suggest everyone to, try to predict the questions, try to predict what type of questions might be there, and what type of questions might be there, and uh, mm, try to memorize or remember a sample answer. But however, by any chance, if you are wrong at predicting the questions, the questions that you thought were supposed to be in the exam hall, but when you open the paper, you see that those questions are not there, you can just write the answer itself in that exam hall. Therefore, I will suggest everyone to know how to write the answer properly, or how to structure an economics essay answer, an economics essay model answer. So for my exam, I memorized around 4 essays. The topics which I thought will be there were wage determination, consumer equilibrium and marginal utility, then income and substitution effects. Income and substitution. I think, these 4 topics I think I memorized: wage determination, consumer equilibrium, marginal utility, and income and substitution effects. And the next step is that you need to learn how to structure an essay answer. So how do you structure an essay answer? Of course, as it's an essay answer, you got to have an introduction. Then you need to write around 3 to 4 body paragraphs. Then you write an evaluation. Then you write a conclusion, of course. So for your introduction, you need to write various definitions, right? You need to introduce various topics, and write various definitions which help you introduce your topic basically. So next 3-4 paras you write about the main gist, right? You write about the main gist from the concepts you have about economics, the concepts you have studied in your AS or A2 or O levels. Try to write those paragraphs using your concepts as much as you can write, and of course try to include a lot of graphs in your answer, right? In economics graphs are quite important. Try to include as much as graphs. Of course your graphs need to be related to your question, just don't put in a random graph. And when you include a graph in one of your body paragraphs, make sure to write an explanation for the graph as well, because a graph without an explanation is quite useless. You won't get any mark. Yeah, then next you need to write about your evaluation. So to write your evaluation, there are 3 ways that you can write an evaluation. First is contradiction, where you can tell that why a certain step or a certain policy might not work, because like in your body paragraphs you have talked about a certain policy, but in your evaluation you are now writing why your policy might not work. So the next way to write an evaluation is to write the differences between a long-term situation and the short-term situation, right? So in economics, I'm pretty sure you have studied that short-term and long-term are quite different, right? Those are not, there are a lot of things that are quite different between short-term and long-term timings. So you need to write about the difference, about why a certain policy or a certain step might work in the short term, but it might not work in the long run. Yes. So the third way that you can write an evaluation is talking about the magnitude, right? You can talk about the magnitude of the step or the policy you have taken. You have you can say that why that policy might not work if too much of that policy is used, like for example, if tax regulations are too much strict, that might demotivate entrepreneurs to set up new businesses, right? So you need to write out a magnitude, like very high tax rate might demotivate entrepreneurs, however low tax rate is good for an economy to gain tax revenue, right? So you need to write about the magnitude. So next you will be writing about your conclusion. So in your conclusion you need to basically pick a side, right? You need to basically prioritize on your topic. You need to specialize on the topic you're talking about, and prioritize about your topic, and basically sum it up, right? But all the things you have talked about in your answer, you need to again prioritize your topic and then sum the topic up, sum the whole essay up. So that's it. That's how you can write an essay. Well, at least that's how I used to write essays when I used to practice writing essays, of course. So I think that's it for the video. So I really hope you guys liked this video and you guys found this video helpful. So if you guys found this video helpful, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. I will be posting more content soon enough.